Everybody, this is Benjamin here with Secret Note. We're sitting here with Bobby and Logan from the band Goldboot at Triple B Backstage Bar on East Fremont in Las Vegas. How are you all doing today?
Doing very well. How about you?
Doing excellent. Excited to be here. You're opening up for L1011 tonight, which is going to be an amazing show. I didn't even think that they would come to Las Vegas. They're one of those kind of bands, so I'm so excited that they're here. You've also got another great show coming up with Parade of Lights on Thursday the 20th, February 20th at Vinyl inside the Hard Rock Hotel. Mm-hmm. It's going to be your second appearance, sort of.
Yeah, we love that venue.
That's
you
awesome.
know what's really funny is we actually played, I think maybe the last time that they came here, L1011, we actually played a different version of Goldboot, played with them at Beauty Bar.
Really?
Which is really funny, so it's kind of like full circle.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, tell us, let's get into that. Are you both locals, always originally locals, or what's your background?
I grew up in California.
Okay.
San Luis Obispo, California, and I've been living all over the place. I lived in Nashville for a little bit, lived here off and on, and I'm back here now.
So what brought you here?
I like it here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good enough
me
reason.
and Bob were in different bands back in 2005 or 2006, and we met in San Jose, just touring, and we just kept sort of like a relationship over the phone, just always talking and stuff like that, and it just sort of worked out finally that he wasn't in a band and I wasn't in a band, so
That's great.
we were both here in Vegas, so it just sort of worked out. So then it was that's sort of how that happened.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, your release right now is the Electric Eccentric, right?
Yes, it is.
And if anyone's had a chance to listen to it, which I obviously recommend they do, you have a lot of big hooks in there, kind of a funky sound. Mm-hmm. Is it something did you listen to a lot of that type of music growing up, funk necessarily, or was that just something that appealed to you with this project?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, we're both 80s kids, born in the 80s and early 90s, growing up listening to music and stuff like that. So I think we were both subjected to a lot of different kinds of music, which is kind of what shows up in the music itself. There's rock and funk and stuff like that. So I think that this was something that we both wanted to experiment with, was some music that we could definitely have fun with, mm-hmm. and still be very serious and passionate about too.
Awesome.
So yeah, and we've both been in a lot of different types of, in bands playing a lot of different types of music. So it's always fun to start something that's different and unique and stuff like that. So I mean, me and him are sort of being adventurous for the first time in this sort of genre, which is
Absolutely.
fun. Yeah, super fun.
Well, I definitely have to say, seen you a few times now. We caught you at Artifice originally, was the very first time we saw you. And I think, a lot of groups that are duos right now, kind of have that, one is like a very bluesy feel, a lot of them have, or some are very indie pop, like electro indie pop, which you have a little bit of that influence, but I think people are very surprised as soon as you get started with how much those big hooks come in and those that that guitar and that really slamming drums.
Yeah, for sure. That's that's Bob. I mean, Bob always puts a limit on where I'm going with the song, because I might go way too far with some funk and take it to some weird places. So, but yeah, you're right. There's a lot of bluesy, sort of that sort of black. Was it Black Keys?
Black Keys, yeah.
Stuff like that, and I do think it's always funny to see the look on people's faces when we first start playing, because I don't think that that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, I don't think they are either.
Just seen us mingling around or whatever
right.
like that. I don't think they're thinking that it's gonna sound like that, which is cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Absolutely. So your Cold Feet is the most recent video, which I don't know why, but I just saw it for today the first time. Right. And it's really cool. You're all around Main Street for a little bit, and then what really surprised me is the car explosion. It was holy shit!
Right.
Well, I have to assume that's where a lot of the production expense went.
Blowing up a car is the coolest thing you could ever do in your lifetime.
Yeah. No. Adam Zielinski did it. He's awesome. Everything he does is really good, and just the quality is awesome. And he wrote the whole treatment for it.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome. Yeah, it was cool, super cool to incorporate some of the downtown stuff, because our rehearsal spot is actually right there.
Okay.
At the Alamo, it's right there. So it's cool. We're always down there. So it's a big part of what happened in that rehearsal spot. It's a big part of who we are,
mm-hmm.
musically and in our band. So to shoot it down there was really cool.
And then I noticed on Twitter, Lady Sylvia was giving you a shout out. Was that last part of it shot there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
the
what I
one with the
assumed.
girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
and stuff
very cool.
That. Yeah, they were super cool. We did actually the premiere there.
Okay.
which was super cool because there was like there's people there that had no idea just because they were there just as like
Just
you know
hanging out,
yeah.
yeah.
just doing their thing, and so it was cool to just like show them that because it played on all their like flat screens and everything, and
Awesome.
they play the song through like their super cool like their system or whatever, so it sounded all great. And yeah, it was cool. It was cool. We got everybody that was in the crew to come out, and like I said, it was awesome to like play it in front of people that didn't know that they were there to see a music video premiere. They're
Right.
just like, what's going on? We just sort of like played it like every hour, like once, and then that was it. But it was awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, they were super cool about it.
Well, I want to ask you all, as a band that does play around a lot in the scene here, you know, there's obviously a lot of great things happening. Cosmo just opened the Chelsea. Brooklyn Bowl's
sure.
about to open up
Yeah,
soon.
that's super
So there's a lot of opportunity for touring bands to come into Las Vegas, which is always exciting.
Right.
But what do you think the state of local bands is right now? Like I've always been sad that Bunkhouse hasn't reopened yet. They said
For
that's going to
sure.
happen in November,
That was a
which
staple.
yeah, which hugely supported, you know, a lot of local bands. I mean,
Right.
what do you think it's like for local bands to be playing in Las Vegas right now?
Well, like you know, before we started, I said that it was hard for bands that sort of do their thing downtown here to play like outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to get those Cosmos shows or to get those all age shows like we were talking about. I definitely think it would be awesome to get more all age venues, just because, you know, that is such a different market than
Right.
from your peers. You know what I mean? You reach a new audience and stuff like that. When we played the Cosmo, that was the best thing for it, is because there was so many different types of people. There were tourists, there was everything. So you get to like reach out and do that. But I think, I don't know, local music, it's doing great. There's a lot of good bands. A lot of bands doing really well here. You know,
I mean, have
Rusty
you
Maples?
Absolutely.
They do,
No,
they do
I
really
mean-
well. Dusty Sunshine does really well.
Mhm.
They pair really well together. So, and it's cool that they just opened up the container park and have
Yeah.
that cool stage there. That's super cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, no, it's
I
super
want to.
cool.
I
I
need
haven't
to
even
go
been
in
there.
there.
It's
I've walked
bigger
by
than-
it a bunch of times, but I haven't
The
actually
stage
gone
is bigger
in.
than I thought it was going to
Yeah.
be. I thought it was just going to be like somebody's playing in front of like a bar or something.
Right.
But no, it's a big stage. It's like, yeah, it's that size.
I have to say, I was disappointed they didn't put real grass in, though. It looks like it's
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It's,
It's a play place.
Yeah.
And they have drinks there, so there's a lot that can go wrong there.
Right,
So I
that's
think
true.
maybe
The grass
I don't know,
wouldn't stay
turf-
that green that long.
No,
Right,
it would not.
that's-
no,
that's true.
Yeah, no, and the turf seems a little bit less forgiving, so maybe it's like learning your lesson once if you
Right.
like eat it off the slide or something like that. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, we did want to ask you, one of the final things that we always love to ask is, who do you love to see live? Whether it's a national touring band or a local band, or who, when they roll through town, are you like, I absolutely have to see this show, I can't miss it, that you really recommend to our readers and listeners?
Uh,
I know.
the
his.
Killers.
Yeah.
Only the
The
Killers.
Killers, of
They
course.
Nobody
were
else.
awesome. They like honestly, you know, I mean, I know he's seen a bunch of times, and you know, he really respects them. And when we saw him at Life Is Beautiful, I was just, it's like one of those things, you know. It's like a band that like is on that level. It's really cool, and just to have them come from here. I don't know. I was really into like I saw both these concerts at the Boulevard Pool,
Mhm.
but the Shins
Yeah,
and Kimbra.
yeah.
I really like Kimbra.
Right.
In fact, like everything that she does, anything that she does, like it's, and I feel like that influence shows up in like the way that I write too, which
Awesome.
is really, you know, but yeah, both those bands were so good. And the Shins played like in the rain and it was like cold, but they were like so good and pitch perfect. So yeah, those two bands for sure. Every time they come through.
There's a lot of
Very
cool
cool.
shows.
Gotta check
I go to the Griffin a lot, and I stumble in the back on. They do shows there on Wednesdays, and
Mhm.
sometimes I've noticed a lot of cool like local bands that are popping up.
Yeah.
They've had a lot of good ones lately, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. The All-Togethers, they're doing their
Yeah.
thing too, and that's like sort of a different genre than us, you know. And Same Sex Mary, they
Of
were
course.
really good at Life Is Beautiful. They were
Yeah.
really, really good.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that I think I'd seen them like at a place where I was like, oh, I can hear everything and it's good sound and everything. So that was cool, you know, to see a lot of those local bands get to play on that stage where the sound was like really good, you know, and then you get to like really showcase like what you sound like. You know?
Absolutely.
So
For all ages show, like you were mentioning, I've heard about a couple like house party type things happening, and especially more like a little bit on the east side. Are you aware of much of a scene, or do you ever get invited to play more house party type shows, or is it for you a lot more based on the clubs and venues?
I mean, I would love to.
Yeah.
I love house shows. I
Yeah.
think they're really unique and they're very intimate and they're just a good time. It's cool to like just kind of hang out and kind of party and
Yeah, we
listen
played
to
this
music.
one in Fresno that was awesome.
Yeah, that
it
was
was
really
like
cool.
it's a really weird house. It's like it is a house. It looks like it could be like a store shop.
Like a condo kind of.
Yeah, and like compound.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's a collective compound. Like they have like video games there. There's like a bar they built there.
Yeah,
It was
the
so
guy like
cool.
makes this like whiskey eggnog himself and just
Awesome.
Yeah, and it was
It's
so
rad.
cool, and like everybody loves that venue. I forget what is it called. What was it called? something.
love the captive.
Yeah, Love the Captive. That was it.
Yeah.
We played it in Fresno. It was super cool. We definitely want to go back. We have friends there, and it was just like, you know, if more things like that could happen in Vegas, just like, you know, that seems like the real DIY stuff. You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
You know, it's super cool. Yeah, but we don't ever hear about stuff like
I feel
that.
like
you
I
know?
feel like it's Vegas is kind of on the way to getting like every city I've ever like been to that has sort of a hurting all ages market, especially like I feel like everyone gets starved for it enough to where something just happens and something great comes out of everything, and it becomes like the new thing.
Right.
You know, it's because Vegas, all the all age venues here, they hold like 2,000 people at the least. So
Yeah.
it's
There's no intimacy in that.
Yeah,
you
no,
know what I mean? It's just
absolutely.
like a long haul.
yeah, and it's kind of hard just for young bands to start out. There's always going to be musicians, and they can't. If there's no venue for them to play, they kind of just, a lot of them will just give up. They're like, well, why would we even start a band if we can't play anywhere?
Sure. Which is why downtown is like awesome. It's gonna start from
Mhm.
downtown. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like even just like the people who choose to live down here and stuff like that. It seems to be, what brings the culture down here. And I think like if there are going to be like house shows and these like DIY collective type things, it's gonna stem from downtown.
Right.
And from bands like like I said, like Rusty Maples, like maybe even us and Same Sex Mary and Dusty Sunshine, who like frequent downtown like that. That will like be where it spreads. I feel like. From,
Absolutely.
So I think it's cool. I think it's only going up.
Mhm.
It has. I guess it has to at some point. You know. We hope.
Well, you were mentioning being in Fresno, and you took about a month-long tour through Utah and California and all over the place. Is there anything besides that great show that was particularly memorable on that tour for
That's
you?
the only
or-
one.
That's it.
That's it,
No,
that's the
LA
main
was
thing.
great. Both LA shows, which is weird. Usually sort of it's hit or miss there. Because there's so much going on.
Right.
There's so many things going on, especially if you're playing like off Hollywood Boulevard or Sunset
Right.
Strip or anything like that.
And there's not as much foot traffic. It's much more of a destination kind of place.
Totally.
Like,
And they
yeah.
have their built-in
It
crowds and stuff like that. But both those, and even
was
San
cool.
Fran was
All the shows kind of had their own unique like vibe to them, which is pretty rad. And they were all good shows. Everyone was really into it. And
We played some interesting venues
Yeah.
on some interesting nights, I guess. It was
Okay.
just, some certain type of crowds that you're like, oh, really? This is what this place is. All right, sweet. Like, this is cool.
it's always the least expected though. Like you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this is going to be interesting, and then it's everyone's. That's the most into it.
Right.
They were more into it in the city where we thought it was going to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah,
You
like very outgoing in Salt Lake City.
Awesome.
Or just you, and you wouldn't
Yeah.
think that. I mean, you know what I mean? It was awesome, and it was the first day of the tour. Or first
Yeah.
day. Yeah, it was. So it was like awesome, and it started off really good. So, there was some like smaller shows along the way, but I think like no matter what was going on, like we were having crowds that were interested in the show itself, interested in all the bands. So no matter how small the show was, it was pretty cool. And LA was just awesome. Both shows were great.
Yeah.
We played
That was great.
Los Globos, which is more in like Silver Lake.
Okay.
It was super cool. It was like industry night, so there was just like tons of people there. And then we played this place called Club Moscow, which is like right off Hollywood, and it was great. It's like sort of like 18 and up, and they got all these different rooms with different music going on, so it like brings it together.
It's out in
Right.
this like cool back patio
Yeah.
kind of thing, and it's really
Yeah,
rad.
it's really cool.
Awesome.
Gothic themed. It's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything that we should be on the lookout for? Are you recording any new music or videos or anything going on?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna be we're start demoing some new songs. We're planning on doing a lot of touring. coming
Yeah,
up
yeah, we
here.
got a lot of things in the works. I mean, nothing that we can for sure say anything or jinx ourselves with,
Right.
But we definitely have some West Coast stuff going on, maybe some South by Southwest stuff coming on, and then hopefully a full US.
For this year?
Yeah, for this year.
Oh, cool. Well,
Yeah.
we'll be there for sure. So we'll have
Rad.
to look you up.
Hell
yeah.
yeah. Hell
yeah.
yeah. And another thing is, we just want to press just our website, goldbootmusic.com.
Of course, absolutely.
And it has all of our videos, all of our music, like our up-to-date stuff. Like we're really big on posting new videos on the road and stuff like that. So You'll be
Sweet.
hearing a lot from us if you go to that website.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate the time.
For sure, I appreciate
Thursday,
it, man.
February 20th at Vinyl with Parade of
Yeah,
Lights.
yeah.
Everybody should be there.
For sure.
Have a great set, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Thanks.
dude.